Digital media changes our ways of seeing by altering how we pay attention. It is not uncommon to hear that in the current digital age, individuals have developed an expectation for instant gratification. It seems like everything these days is getting chopped, diced, and spliced into smaller and smaller chunks of time for our entertainment. We have moved from the novel hundreds of thousands of characters long to the 140 character Twitter in a relatively quick period of time. A generation ago, people would have had to walk to the bowling alley to play a game, to the movie theater to catch the latest show, or to a friend's house to visit. Nowadays, we can bowl, watch a movie, text with friends, and blog about it all at the same time through the digital channel that is enveloping our world. A generation of multitaskers is used to having their attention pulled in many different directions. The current nature of web browsing has left us with an attention span of 9 seconds, the same as a goldfish. Is the internet literally shrinking our attention spans, or is it simply changing the way we pay attention? The digital age is not entirely to blame. Television was the first step into a more fast-paced visual culture. With the widespread purchases of the television in the 1950s, people became mesmerized by moving pictures on the small screen. Television sparked increased obsession with visual media and catalyzed the conversion to receiving and interpreting information at a much faster rate. Originally, just the fact that people could watch moving visual narrative in their own homes kept people entertained, but the demand from most Americans for television appears insatiable. Today, with hundreds of channels made available through digital cable, digital imagery has become a regular part of our entertainment. The resulting visual overload makes for competing demands on our attention. Channel flipping is one example of this effect. Television is not just for entertainment either. Advertisements have become a major part of our TV viewing experience, accounting for 32% of airtime compared to a mere 13% in 1952. On our television screens, ads are being thrown at us at a much faster rate than ever before, with no camera shot lingering for more than a few seconds in order to hold the attention of viewers and satisfy the craving for instant gratification. Might video games also be contributing to our declining attention spans? Kids, and even some adults, are spending more and more time glued to the latest game console. It has become the newest social activity, spawning groups devoted to particular video games. Even advertisements have been shifting to advertainment in the form of company-sponsored online games. With an increasing number of children using their free time for video games, pediatricians have noticed a correlation between increased time spent gaming and decreased performance in school and activities that require a longer attention span. The speed of the images on a screen and degree to which gamers are captivated by them is something unique to this genre of entertainment and, similar to television, leads to an inability to view reality and everyday tasks as worth our attention. They keep the players deeply involved in a world of constant stimulation, making the real world mundane in comparison. Because the non-digital cannot meet the demands established by the digital, the player's ability to perceive, to see that which is not digital, is impaired by their inability to focus. While the main debate over video games today is the amount of violence kids are exposed to, we should notice the possible effects they can have on attention, and consequently, perception in general. While television and video games shape attention spans, the World Wide Web may well be a contributing factor as well. With a vast sea of domains and servers, internet users can easily browse through a seemingly infinite conglomeration of information and photos in a short amount of time. There has been speculation on how our attention spans are affected by this clickability of the internet.
Spend about 4 hours a day on the internet.
On average, I probably spend around 10 or 12 hours on the internet a day.
I spend about 5 hours a day on the internet.
You usually spend about 6 hours a day.
Usually spend about 4 to 5 hours.
Usually spend about 2 hours on the internet.
Usually visit 2 different email sites, Facebook, and then I check my homework.
I have to guess around 5 websites each time.
Usually on about 3 websites.
In a session, I probably visit about 6 websites.
3 to 4 websites.
Usually about 3 or 4 websites.
My email ones can be as fast as possible. If I don't have email, then I just get out of them. And then Facebook is probably at least a half hour to however long.
Average probably 5 minutes a website.
I'm on each website for probably 5 minutes.
I'll probably stay on about 2 minutes for each website.
About 3, 5 minutes.
And about 10 minutes on each probably.
The longest video I would watch would be about 5 minutes.
Maximum length would probably have to be 10 minutes.
I'll watch it for about 3 minutes.
After about 2 minutes, I'll get bored with the video, and then I'll get off and go to something new.
Probably like 5 minutes long.
5 minutes usually.
Some experts claim the internet is rewiring our brains altogether. According to a study conducted in 2007 by a UCLA professor of psychiatry, the recent and sudden increase in digital technology is altering the way our brains function altogether. Professor Gary Small's study consisted of 6 volunteers, 3 of whom were considered web savvy and 3 others who were classified as web novices. He took each person into a room individually and hooked them up to a brain resonance imager, a device that displays brain activity, and the subjects were then told to search the internet for random, pre-selected topics. Compared to novice internet users, web-savvy subjects showed a greater, more widespread amount of brain activity. Professor Small then had the web novice subjects spend an hour a day online for 6 days. After the 6 days, the experiment was repeated, and the results showed the novice subjects' new brain scans resembled the web-savvy subjects' scans from the earlier results. Within 6 hours on the internet, the subjects' brains had been rewired. While these findings only offer direct insight on the physiological impact of the internet on our attention spans, they make it easier to consider the effects of other digital media as well. Even if you don't believe that digital media has been rewiring our brains, it is safe to say that at the very least, digital media has brought a rise to multitasking in everyday life by decreasing our ability to focus on one thing at a time. In order to absorb all of the information thrown at us, our way of seeing is sped up, and what we view is cut into smaller and smaller fragments. With the internet, people at work can easily open their email, check the weather or current sports standings, watch a quick video, instant message a coworker, play solitaire, and update a spreadsheet in a matter of minutes. Gloria Mark conducted a study that illustrated the attention spans of people in the workplace. Her results showed that each employee in the study spent an average of 11 minutes on a project before getting distracted or interrupted. In addition, the 11 minutes spent on a project was fragmented into 3-minute tasks, like answering the phone, responding to an email, or working on a spreadsheet. Her study also reported that after a person was distracted, it took them an average of 25 minutes to return to the task. By demonstrating the Internet's effects on office productivity, Mark's study illustrates the digital medium's contribution to a drastic change in our attention spans. Nicholas Carr, the author of the New York Times bestseller The Shallows, What the Internet is Doing to Our Brains, agrees with the claim that our brains are being rewired. He talks about his research in an interview with ABC.
What is the internet doing to my brain?
Well, it's changing it. The more we stay online, the more we jump among bits of information and handle all sorts of incoming messages, the more we're training our brain to behave in that way, to be distracted, to jump around. And what we're losing, I think, and the science seems to suggest this, is the ability to slow down, to be contemplative, to be attentive, and to engage in the kind of deeper modes of thinking and reading that I think are really the essential to our intelligence and even our personality. Something neuroscientists and psychologists have discovered in recent decades is that when we use new technologies, new media, they actually influence the very neural circuitry of our brain. So as we shift our habits of mind and spend more time with our iPhones or with our laptops and stuff, and we're really not only training our brains to think in a very distracted, very superficial way, but these changes are being embedded in the actual biological structure of our brains. I think we're losing the deeper modes of thinking and reading that require attentiveness, that require the ability to concentrate, to tune out distractions.
Digital media has become an essential part of our world. The way in which we see has changed from slowly taking in and processing images to barely blinking at the rapid fire of information afforded by mediums such as the internet. Have you been paying attention? A person is exposed to 8.5 hours of television, video games, computers, and other digital media on average daily. As this number increases, will our patience for processing the visual world around us diminish until we, like goldfish, are left belly up?